Welcome to the fabulous Las Vegas Rotary Club. Our club continues to make a difference by teaching youth to succeed through literacy, education, and life skills development. My name is Michael Gordon, and I'm proud to serve as the 95th president of the greatest Rotary Club in the world. I'd like to call to the front Arlene Sirois to open our meeting today.
Thank you, Dr. Gordon. I have Karen here because in case I break down, she's going to take over for me. All right. As most of you know, my brother died last month. He was diagnosed with liver and pancreatic cancer on September 11th, and there is no cure for pancreatic cancer. He always intended to retire in South Carolina, where my sister Louise lives, and that's where he wanted to die. He was too weak to make the plane trip, so I was privileged to grant his wish by driving him to South Carolina. It took us 5 days and a lot of stops, and a few times I wondered if he was still alive. As soon as we got to my sister's home, it was as though he was happy to die there. He let go, and 2 days later we found him dead on the morning of September 27th. I'm not the first person to have experienced the death of a loved one. Most of us have. My own father died on Father's Day when I was 14. So when I got back home, I came across this beatitude, and I thought I would share it with you. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. That's in the Bible, Matthew 5:4. Grief is the price we pay for love. To love deeply is to grieve our losses deeply. Henry Nouwen wrote, "We wonder why grief hits hard. Why did this happen? To remind us of the brevity and fragility of life? To deepen the faith of those who carry on? It's hard to answer yes when everything seems dark. The important thing to us at the moment is to be relieved of the pain. But when we move through adversity rather than avoid it, we greet it differently. We become willing to let it teach us. Ultimately, mourning means facing what wounds us in the presence of the only one who can heal us. Our tomorrows are in God's hands, and He will be there when every other support is gone." Thank you for letting me share.
Thanks, Arlene, for that moving invocation. Our song leader today is Sidra Kane.
Today we're going to do My Country 'Tis of Thee. So start out on My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
Thank you. Thank you, Sidra. And I actually have it highlighted in my agenda, so I don't forget like last week. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. Thank you. You may be seated. Our Sergeant at Arms today is Past President Steve Linder. Sir, are you ready to be of service?
I'm ready. President Michael.
And let's start off with introduction of international Rotarians. Do we have any international Rotarians? Nope. Okay, then moving on to visiting Rotarians. I know we have a couple in the crowd. Visiting Rotarians, right in front of you.
Hello, I'm Ed Frederick. I'm from Waseca, Minnesota, and I'm proud to have been a past district governor in 82-83 of District 1960. We have about 55 members in Waseca and support the school programs and scholarship programs there at Waseca, and we got involved with this Rotary program where you take and give out an award to a company in some place in the world that needs funds. And it's an interesting program. If you haven't explored it, take a look at it. We do it so one person each week gets one of those programs and picks a place to give the award to, and then it comes back and reports to the group. So good to be here. My son Ken, traveling with me. Great to have him with me.
Thank you. Other visiting, let's please all keep our applause till the end. Other visiting Rotarians?
Hello, everybody. I'm Gordon Shirtliff, Torrey Pines, La Jolla Rotary Club. I'm very proud to be back here again for my third time. Had the privilege of introducing John and Jemmy to your club several years ago. Very proud of his sister Marie as Rotarian of the Year.
Yes, we're proud of her too. John,
I understand that. And our club, Torrey Pines, is known as the Wine Club. We have 20 members. We do a lot. We give to Care and Share Toy Drive. We collect stuffed animals for Children's Hospital as one of our events. And it's certainly nice to be back here again. And I'm especially proud of my wife, 30 years in Rotary. Penny?
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Penny Shirtliff. I've been a Rotarian for 30 years, as Gordon said, and I'm with the Rotary Club of La Jolla, and we're in two different clubs.
Sure.
And you have a wonderful club here.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining.
Can I just say something, please? These two are my very dear friends, and they have introduced me to Rotary, and I love them for it. And I'm very, very proud. 47 years of Rotarian and 30 years. I'm very proud of both of them. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other visiting Rotarians? Right up here up front.
Hi, everybody. My name's Dave Savage. I'm also from La Jolla. This seems to be a La Jolla day. La Jolla Sunrise Rotary. It's so good to walk into a Rotary and see your neighbors here. So, and this is my better half, Sherry.
Thanks. Welcome. Other visiting Rotarians? Okay, then let's move on to guests of Rotarians.
Ted McAdam here, introducing Stuart Townsley. He's a dear friend of Bob Fisher's, and Bob has recommended Stuart for membership, so we're going through the process. Stuart Townsley is a portrait artist. I got that right.
Hi, Janice Lenke, and I want to introduce my boss, Renee Kim, owner of CLI Groups, and she deserves applause for putting up with me for 4.5 years.
Guests of Rotarians?
I would like to introduce a guest who will also introduce himself. Chris Way is the Vice President and General Manager of 13 Action News, our wonderful ABC affiliate here in Las Vegas. Sir?
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for having me today. Really appreciate the warm welcome and hospitality. As you've probably heard from Bob and Tom over the years, community engagement and community service is really core to the DNA of local broadcasting, local media. And frankly, I can't think of a better group to engage with to further that mission for us. I'm recently returned to Las Vegas, moved back to take over the role of General Manager at Channel 13 this past June. I took a brief year hiatus, traveling around some other jobs, but worked at KLAS TV for about 8 years prior. So Las Vegas is my home. Super happy to be here. Thank you again.
Thank you. Any other guests of Rotarians?
Yes, and I would like to introduce Michael Newborn, and I don't know where he went. Oh, there he is. Okay. Anyway, Michael's been to our club before. I'm sure you've seen his face around, and he's very interested in joining our group. and we're proud to have you back as a visitor. Thank you for being here, Michael. And Michael was a Rotarian in California Rancho Santa Fe. Perfect.
That's not allowed. Today you were in La Jolla. Apparently that's the only other Rotary Club. Any other guests of Rotarians? Okay, then let me introduce my guest at the head table, Matt Nelson, who is a native Nevadan working in the land and commercial development business. He says that our weekly lunches always inspire him to be a better person than he was yesterday. Growing up, he was the Boys and Girls Club all 8-ball champion, as well as an all-state third baseman in high school. And since it's World Series time, it's appropriate to mention that Matt's great-uncle played on a 1930s Yankees team with Babe Ruth. This uncle must have loved Matt because he gave him autographed Babe Ruth memorabilia. Matt's favorite Babe Ruth quote also applies to Rotary. The quote is, "You may have the greatest bunch of individual stars in the world, but if they don't play together, the club won't be worth a damn." So please join me in welcoming all our visiting Rotarians and guests. We're going to move straight into announcements. And if you could take the microphone first to past President Karen Wisenant to share some exciting news about one of our Peace Scholars.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. As some of you may recall, we had a visitor here a couple months ago, and it was Florence Mayer. She was our applicant for the Rotary World Peace and Conflict Resolution Scholarship, and as of this week, she was actually accepted by the Board of Trustees of Rotary International, and she will be going to study at the International Christian University in Japan. This is a scholarship up to $70,000, so Rotarians, thank you for your support, and I'm sure we'll see her before she goes off to study.
Thank you, Past President Karen, for helping her and guiding her through that process.
And she's a native Nevadan as well.
Sticking with the peace theme, I also want to say that I attended the Peace Conference in Huntington Library, San Marino, this past Saturday, the District 5300 Peace Conference, and it was amazing. If you've never been, please make a note for next year, because they specifically talked about the role of social media in peace building, and it was just impactful in what people do and how social media can be used to build peace. Now, if you could take it to Marie Walsh to give us feedback on the Beckley Festival. I don't know, what kind of festival was it again?
Oh, we're going to start that again. It was an autumn festival. Okay. And it was wonderful. The kids had a wonderful time. They all came in costume. We had different games. And I'd like to, excuse me. I'd like to thank Janice Blanke for being there and giving me a hand. It was a wonderful event. And I also want to say that Breakfast with Books, as usual, I'm going to talk about that, is going to be November the 14th. And the Green Book is coming around, and I need as many volunteers as possible. Please come and help us. It starts at 8:05 in the morning. Thank you.
Thank you. And then in honor of World Polio Day, which was on Tuesday, you will see that Governor Sandoval gave our club a proclamation, which is in the wheel. And this week, and this week only, we are circulating the polio pig. Where is the pig? Right here. Right here. So just make sure it keeps moving from table to table, and let's help with polio. So it's the last Thursday of the month, so I give out 4-way test coins to Rotarians who went above and beyond and exhibited service above self. And we have 10 Rotarians. Yeah, it was a busy month. People worked hard this month. So I'm going to call them up to the front, and then I will tell their stories. So Dave Lester, Tom Kroeb. I don't know, I didn't see Tom Kroeb. Oh, he is there. Tom Kroeb, past president Tom Kroeb. President-elect Jim Cole. Past President Tom Thomas. Paul Maffey, Matt Nelson, Lamar Marchese, Tom Kroeb again, Kirk Holmes, and Tony Kern. So as they're making their way to the front, let me just say that, first of all, Dave Lester heard about an incident that happened with a former TLC applicant, and Dave stepped in right away to help this person. And it was just amazing to see that kids that are selected to attend our youth camps aren't forgotten, that they continue to be at the forefront of our minds. So if you want to know more, talk to Dave. I won't steal his thunder. Then past President Tom Krob went on a cruise, and he took our bylaws and constitution and continuing resolutions with him. I don't know what his wife Jane thought about that, but our club is very thankful. So thanks for doing that. So next week, you all receive the email. We will be voting on that. And then Jim Cole, Tom Thomas, Paul Maffey, Matt Nelson, Lamar Marchese, Tom Krob, Kirk Holmes, and Tony Kern all worked on a new initiative that will be unveiled next week for our local foundation. I cannot say exactly what yet, but there is more to come. So thank you all for your service above self. And let me give you a 4-way test coin, and then pause and smile for the photo. Thank you all for your service. And we have a special presentation as well, so I'm going to call to the front Francesca Gilbert.
Thank you, President Michael. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. Thank you very much for the privilege to be up here. Today, I get to do something very special, and glad I only have 2 kids. I've already got the first one down. Second one's coming up. Feel like, the wedding's like, whoo, dodged a bullet there. So as part of the Rotary mantra, it's very important to make sure that your children get to see you in action, but also get to be part of the action. So today, I hope to make that possible. So I'd like to call my daughter, Alyssa Gilbert, up to the front. And she's like, what? The shock is always the best part, the surprise. So this is my daughter, Alyssa. So she is an 8th grader at Pinecrest, and she has helped on a lot of different things for Rotary as much as she can with the school schedule. And today I'd like to present Alyssa's Paul Harris Award to her. So this is for her.
Over there. Pause and smile. Thank you. Congratulations to our newest Paul Harris Fellow. Please enjoy a quick 3 minutes for lunch and fellowship.
Okay.
Past president, but back reading Voice of Matter broadcaster.
Well, oh, okay, and we have a program with you know that, our club. But speaking of United Way, I was on the board of directors for United Way until just like a couple of months ago when I resigned. We were traveling so much. You know, I want to be a board director person that does something. Plus, I'm on the board here now. Robin Casterson? Laurel Larson. Blonde, real energetic, lovely young. Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, Laurel's a good friend, too. We've been involved with United. In fact, we were talking to people for years. But this, I'm sorry that Bob Morgan, he's not even doing a good job.
First meeting, one of the first nonprofit meetings I had back, way back with Bob. And then, get a call. Yeah, he's done. I had one with Jessica Trotta. Jessica Trotta. Good friends with the Raising Cane's guys. So I had lunch with Jess and he came back to
Bob's family never moved here.
Yeah, and then they kind of gave him another commitment to stay a little bit longer, or to move his family. Thought they would get a little bit more something about it. I guess he agreed. And then,
Because like I said, I resigned from the board.
yeah, I got to make committed to stay, and then he left it. I'm sure I moved to Las Vegas at one point. It was both people are willing to go. That's a challenge.
Who, just like Brett, are superstars in their fields. WWE champ John Cena and philanthropist and Microsoft mogul Bill Gates.
The two have joined forces alongside with Melinda Gates to bring their star power to a great cause.
John is an ambassador for Rotary, the global network working to end polio, and he recently took a trip down to Atlanta to catch up with Bill for a big announcement.
You crushed polio in the Americas, you crushed polio in the Western Pacific, you crushed polio in Europe, then polio fought back hard. So you needed to bring more muscle into the game. Bill Gates came on board.
15 years after their first $1 million donation to Rotary, the Gates Foundation will increase its contribution to $100 million per year over the next 3 years.
Over the 3 years, $450 million? That's going to get it done. That's what you. All right.
For Gates, getting involved in polio eradication was simple. It's an achievable goal, and he wholeheartedly believes that no children should suffer from this preventable disease.
Polio has been my top priority for a decade now.
Every morning I get up and look to see, did we go another day without cases? Last year we got down to less than 40 now, just a handful this year.
By definition, polio is a highly infectious disease that invades the nervous system and can lead to paralysis and sometimes death. It most commonly strikes children under the age of 5.
Authorities were elated that the youngsters took to the immunization plan.
In the 1950s, it was one of the most feared diseases in the U.S., causing more than 15,000 cases each year. Today, fewer than 40 cases remain globally, and this disease has been reduced to just 3 countries. Polio has been eradicated in the Americas for quite some time. Why is it so important to get to this last 0.1%?
Well, as we succeed with this, not only will it help polio, but it'll be so uplifting, the ambition to say to people, now let's go after malaria. We really can't do that until we show we can get this one done. So it's one of the greatest projects I've ever had a chance to be part of.
What personally will it mean to you when you get to 0? I'm not even going to say if, I'm going to say when.
No, I agree. I'm going to keep working on it. But because this one has been so tough, required so much persistence, there's so much of a benefit to it, it will be emblematic that, hey, the world is getting better. When you cooperate, amazing things can happen.
With graduation season upon us and many of our hopefully future young world leaders receiving their diploma, if you were to give a message of Bill Gates' key to success is, what would that be?
Well, I think it's picking something ambitious to do. The decision you make in your 20s, some of those are really going to set your path in a pretty permanent way. We're counting on those graduates of today to solve a lot of big problems.
So as you heard, only 3 endemic countries, less than 40 cases worldwide, and Bill Gates is personally giving $300 million this close to eradicating polio. So thank you to all who have given and continue to give to help make this a possibility. Next up, but if you could take the microphone to Sean Noorda to make an announcement.
This is daring to give me the microphone. All right, just a very exciting announcement. We are celebrating 95 years. And we have save the date cards that we want to get out to all of our past presidents. We are missing some addresses. So if you know a past president and have their address, if you could send that to me, I would appreciate it. And you'll be receiving one of these via email. So please save the date for April 5th, our 95th anniversary party.
Yes, our club is 95 years old, so let's celebrate on April 5th. But first, we're going to have another party, and for that, if you could take it to Jamie Goldsmith. Jamie Goldsmith to talk about our holiday party.
Hi, everybody. We are having the Rotary Holiday Party at Treasure Island. We're going to keep it in the Treasure Island Ballroom, which is the one with the big stage where we've had it in the past. Dinner is going to be surf and turf, so come hungry. So December 7th at 6 p.m.
Yep, that was it.
All right.
Thank you. Next up, Kirk Alexander to talk about TLC, Teen Leadership Camp.
All right, December 1 through 3, we're going to have Teen Leadership Camp that's going to be in Cedar Crest Camp at Running Springs, California. So if you've got any students that you'd like to promote to attend camp, please let us know. We're going to collect the final applications here next week, and then we'll start doing the interview process at the school. Where we currently are interviewing students at Cashman Middle School. So we'd like to get any members, students that they're promoting in that process and give them a chance to participate in Teen Leadership Camp. That's December 1 through 3 this year. Thanks.
And then sticking with that table, Janice Linke about our final wheel ad space.
There is one spot left. Last week we had it sold on the spot. So who's taking the other spot on the wheel? Anybody? Damn, I'm not a good salesperson. Nobody? Sorry.
That's fine. Thank you. Marie Walsh already talked about Breakfast with Books for Tuesday, November 7th. Next up, Bob Fisher, November 14th. I'm sorry. Bob Fisher to talk about our hospital project.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for your patience. We are working with the Salvation Army. Trying to do the right thing. I think most of you are aware that so much money has come in, and it's just a few days ago now that they have established a commission, who is going to actually oversee the allocation of money, so there is the accountability. I will also share with you that on the radio show this past Sunday with Desert Springs, we learned something that is not really being discussed, and that is little old Desert Springs, which was the closest to Mandalay Bay. They had, I think, something like 175 people come in at the same time practically. And something that we're not hearing is that it's the nurses and the people who are working in the hospitals are having a really, really tough time. So what we are trying to do now is besides going to visit for those that are still at the hospital, perhaps come up with something that this Rotary Club can do to maybe even bring in something that Janice had just said to me, to bring in some of the people from some of the hospital, some of the first responders, basically the nurses and that, and thank them and send support. So we're working on this and we're moving on it, but we want to make sure we're doing the right thing.
Thank you. Thank you for your work on that, Bob. And then our party tomorrow night. If you could take it to Eric Astromecki to tell us all about that.
I know, usually people butcher it. So we're going to try this again. Oh, get your glasses. Got to be able to see. Tomorrow we have our Halloween party, and we have over $4,000 in auction prizes, some of them really, really cool and unique. Everything from signed baseballs from Greg Maddox, Bryce Harper, to ATV off-road excursions, El Dorado Jeep tours in the Grand Canyon, really overall around fun stuff. We just had donation for that huge basket of wine over there that you see, over 350 plus bottles of really nice wines. In fact, so the event starts tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. It's a free event completely. We want everyone to attend, regardless if you've donated or not. So please show up. It's at the Distillery. Everyone knows what the Distillery is in Henderson? It's a pretty awesome venue. It's going to be a great time. With that being said as well, we do actually have an item to raffle off today. It's Mystere tickets to the Cirque show at Treasure Island for 2 people. It's over.
What? Right now?
Right now, exactly. We're going to kick this off with a bang. So the value on these is around $200. We're going to start off around $90. This is acrobatics, flips. It's really awesome show. So do I have $90? Can I get $90 from somebody? 90. Got 90. Can I get 100? 100? I got 100. Can I get 115? 115? 115. All right. Can we get any more? 115. Can we get 125? 130? 125? 130? Remember, this is what? 125. All righty. Can we get 130? 135? Anyone? Anyone going once? What? 135. All righty.
What's these tickets for?
These are for the Mystere Cirque show tickets. It's at the Treasure Island. It's over basically around $200 value. It's for 2 people. So we got 135. Any others? Any other takers? No charge for parking, so free parking. That's a steal.
Eric, the question is when? When is it?
What are these tickets for? You can use them at any time, if I'm not mistaken. So you just go in, you make your reservation. These tickets count for them, so you can use them whenever you want. So that's it, and sold. We got them sold. 130. Oh, what did we get? 150. Oh, we got it. We got deep pockets over here. 150. Any other final takers? No. 150 going once. 50 going twice. Sold to the young man in the blue shirt.
Thank you.
Once again, guys, I look forward to see everyone there. Have fun costumes. It's going to be a great time. Thanks again.
Thank you, Eric. So tomorrow night, it's free. Show up. That's what we want. We're going to raise a little bit more money, and just because they're here, David Squire, if you could take the microphone to David Squire. I saw him. You had to leave? That guy slips out every time. Okay, Greg McGuire? I didn't see him. Greg McGuire? No. Okay, well then everybody's lucky, so please donate to the canned food drive. And with that, I'm going to, drawing. So for the big pot, the number is 888-5023. 5023. With Steve Kwan. Hearts, yay. And then for the $50 in Lowry bucks, it's 888-5158. 5158. Past President Tom Krob. He's going to take his wife to Lowry's now to make up for that cruise. Working on the cruise. There you go, sir. Smile. Thank you. And to introduce our guest speaker, I would call to the front Carolyn Sparks.
It is my distinct pleasure to introduce our speaker today, the very handsome Dr. Sean Gertzenberger, who is the Dean of the UNLV School of Community Health Sciences. Yeah, there wasn't enough on here about it, so he said add that, so that's good. And as you know, he's also taking over the double job of working with Dr. Barbara Atkinson in the medical school. And I'm not going to read his whole resume. He was born and raised in Wisconsin, and he lived there until he took off on a very long and impressive educational career. And he's been at UNLV now for 20 years, so he knows a lot of secrets, so I'm sure we'll hear some good stuff today. So please welcome Dr. Sean Gertzenberger.
Couldn't resist. Thank you very much. Well, good afternoon, everybody. To make sure this works, as it says up here. First, before I begin, I just want to thank you all for what you do in Rotary, impacting, changing our community, influencing the young individuals that are growing up in our community and are going to be future leaders is absolutely critical. And it's a vision and a mission that we share in the School of Community Health Sciences as well as at the School of Medicine. So what I want to do today is just talk a little bit about what we do in community health sciences. And there's really three pieces that I want to talk to about this. A little bit, what does it look like? What does community health do? How does it impact our health and our health care system? A little bit about some of the projects and individuals that we have in our unit. And then finally about some of the students and just kind of pull all that back together to show how community health sciences is part of this whole healthcare continuum that we look at. Often when we think about healthcare, we don't consider health until we end up at the doctor. And that's part of the problem with our system in the first place. We need to be looking at from before we're born to all the way up till after we're long gone, how we can influence and impact the health of us, the people around us, our community, and future generations. And that's one of the things that we really promote in public health. So we really look to study lots of different events to help and understand people. So public health and community health, which you'll hear me use interchangeably today, really look at, like it indicates, this higher level. How do we help our populations? How do we help our communities? You got a great example of public health in action with polio. Okay, so if you look back in the literature, there's some wonderful information about smallpox where we did the same thing, where we went around planet Earth and through targeted and integrated interventions with public health and medical professions, we actually eliminated a disease from planet Earth, and there are not that many of those that we have eliminated, unfortunately. And I think polio is just another great way to look at that. So just to remind you of what community health and public health does, we have a picture of the crowd. So that's going to be a little bit of a theme for my next few slides, that this is you, this is I, this is your friends, family, relatives, and how we are all part of this larger community, but there's individual problems that each of us face. So one of the key things that we want to talk about here is, let's not wait till the doctor has to see us to solve our problem. Let's think about preventing those problems in the first place, much like we're talking about with polio. Why wait for individuals to get polio when we can proactively go out and prevent it? That goes for trips and falls, it goes for nutrition, it goes for obesity, and tons of other things that we impact as human beings in our environment. And this is really where my heart and my passion lies. So you could probably look at this or maybe not read that from the back. But why are we waiting to become sick or injured before we start thinking about health care? We have to turn this around and start thinking about, how can we not be injured? How can I really stay out of the hospital or the trauma or the ER rooms, and what can I do to make that happen? And that's really where the interface between public health and medicine and other areas come together. So just a few statistics. You can see a few of these. Each of these statistics that I put up here are not random in any way, shape, or form. They're actually projects that we have faculty in our School of Community Health Sciences that are researching these out in our local community. So you'll see a few of these, like about 12% of our high school individuals in high school are already overweight or obese. Okay, there's some other data what they've done. Our kindergarten health survey, which is done, we'll talk about a little bit later. It's almost 30% of our kids are entering kindergarten already overweight or obese. Okay, last time I checked, kindergartners don't go to the grocery store and shop. Right? So when you think about that, where is that food coming from? How are we working with our environment, with our community, with our transportation, with our parents, with our educational systems to provide healthy and nutritious food, to provide environments that are conducive to exercise? This is what public health and community health does, and we're very excited about that. You can see on the side over here that we have about 7.5%, it's a little bit cut off on the side of our high school students there, report regularly using tobacco. And so we definitely don't want those folks to start smoking when they're in high school. Okay? Just looking at Nevada, 26%, a little bit cut off, just a screen functioning thing, but I'll fill you in on those numbers if you can't see them. It's not 6%, maybe that's our optimistic goal where we would like to get, but 26% of adults in Nevada are overweight or obese. We know that leads to hypertension, other chronic diseases that are preventable if we really start to think about how these can be integrated. 28% of our folks have hypertension already in Nevada. Okay, so we know in Nevada we're typically on the top of the bad lists and on the bottom of the good lists when it comes to health and health-related outcomes. And that's something we absolutely have to change and we have to flip. There's a lot of ways we can do that. Just a few other statistics for you. About 16%, way on the left-hand side, of Nevada women report they don't have a primary care physician. 16%, which is a tremendous number. Okay, I'll put on my med school hat for a minute because I get to do that a lot these days because I'm the acting dean of the medical school. We are 3,000 physicians short in this community of the national average. Okay, so if we added 3,000 physicians tomorrow, we would only be average with respect to the patient-to-physician ratios, which is absolutely staggering. So not only do we need to work on prevention, we also need to work on quality care and bringing healthcare providers into this community, and these all go hand in hand. But 51% of Hispanic women reporting they have no primary care doctor. Over half of the Hispanic community does not have a primary care physician, at least that are female. Those are staggering numbers. How can you get care? How can you do prevention? And how can we cut things off that we know are completely preventable diseases? And so let's switch gears a little bit to men and men's health. Okay, 86% of all men actually report using seatbelts. Right? Maybe a few of the other ones lied. Right? So there, you can do the math there, but still, that's a large percentage of people that don't put on their seatbelts, which we know is another big public health initiative, and we've passed laws and all sorts of things to make sure that people just click their seatbelts on, which seems really simple to do, but there are still many people that don't do it. Many of you probably grew up riding around where there weren't any seatbelts, bouncing around in back seats of trucks, chewing on lead-based paint, whatever you did, all sorts of things that happened in those days. We now know better that those are things we probably shouldn't be doing anymore. Okay? So we know that 24% of all the cancer diagnoses in men in Nevada are for prostate cancer. It's one of those unfortunate things as we get older and older and older, the probability of having and being diagnosed with prostate cancer goes up. So just some statistics. This is, looking at this crowd when you're walking around seeing people in rooms. These are the issues that we currently face in our community. This is a civilized society where these things are preventable, but yet our statistics are atrocious. Okay, so just a few other interesting ones for you here. If I can get that one to go. There we go. So minority health. This is another area where we don't do particularly well. In minority populations in Nevada, they're 2 times more likely to have teenage pregnancies if you come from a minority group. And 80% of the total number of cases of tuberculosis occur in people that are racial and ethnic minorities. Again, things we know that we can address, we can prevent if we start to look at healthcare as this continuum from before we are born to long after we are gone. What can we do to improve our health and our welfare? So just to put some of the statistics out there, you've probably heard of these, a lot of these in Nevada in the past, and it's not a real cheery story. But nonetheless, Just some issues around Hispanic health. We know we have an enormous Hispanic population here. It's up around 30% now for Nevada. And so that's a tremendous number of individuals that are absolutely critical that need specialized care in many areas. 31% of all the low birth weight babies, or 31% of all the babies born to Hispanic women are of low birth weight. And so that could be to nutrition, it could be to lots of things, or it could be that half of them don't have any care. Remember the previous statistics, so they're not getting seen by a physician. Prenatal vitamins, prenatal care, nutrition, those things that we know are so important. This is critical for our community to improve. 35% of Hispanic women were unable to see a doctor because of the costs. That's from 2012 and 2016. That's after the Affordable Care Act was passed. Right? And so these are things that are still real problems right here in our community. So I told you we kind of have 3 or 4 parts. So I want to just talk about some of the statistics, and we'll wrap that up in a minute. But in children's health, children are really the face of public health. If we can't get our children's health issues correct, we're going to have some pretty major issues down the road. We know that infant mortality rate is about 5.2 out of 1,000 in Nevada, and it's even higher for some of our minority populations like African Americans. These are statistics for a first world country, not a third world country. When you look at these, it's staggering. If you didn't know this was Nevada, you might guess this was another country somewhere when you see these stats. About 71% of children aged 19 to 35 months year old in Nevada who are immunized. So we still have almost 30% of our population that is not getting their immunizations, which is a tremendous number, and there's a tremendous cost for that not happening that we will see later down the road from preventable diseases. So there's some things that we can do together, and this is where I keep coming back to that continuum of care. There's small groups of individuals that can always make a difference, like the Rotary clubs, like the volunteer organizations, and there's a tremendous number of these in our community. And I don't think I've ever seen them more motivated and more activated than I have in the last month, given all the things that have happened in Las Vegas, Nevada. Everyone was out, everyone was helping, everyone was willing to make a difference. It was really a phenomenal thing to see. I had hope for humanity that we can actually act like we're supposed to act in a civilized country. If we could just do that every day, we probably wouldn't have many of the problems we face today. So this is just the face and the names of some of the folks within the School of Community Health Sciences. We're the youngest school, I think, over at UNLV. We're only now about 12 years old. And we slowly grew from a faculty of 1 back in 2004. That would be me. When I drafted the proposal to start the School of Public Health, Community Health Sciences, we've had a few name changes in there. Since that time, we've grown to over now 100 faculty and staff, about 31 full-time faculty researchers that just do some tremendous work and impact our community. That group alone has about 80 affiliation agreements where all of our students are required to go out and work with community partners like yourself and do a 200-hour internship on a real live project. That can be in hospitals, it could be at United Way, it could be at 3 Square Food Bank, it could be at the Southern Nevada Health District. Just obviously with over 80 affiliation agreements, I'm not going to rattle them all off, but they impact the community in tremendous ways, many of which end up getting hired by those organizations and then remaining in our community to make a difference. So that's something that we're really proud of. This school last year alone had 58 unique grants that were funded, totaling about $6.5 million. And they published 101 unique peer-reviewed journal articles in the scientific literature talking about advancing the health and the welfare of all of those different areas that I talked to about you earlier. So just a couple of what we like to call our hero shots and real specific projects that some of our faculty are working on. With the diversity that we have in our community, we know that we also need to have that diversity reflected in our healthcare. So this is Dr. Jay Shen, my associate dean, but he works on bringing in people from other countries and providing cultural competencies in our healthcare system. So we can speak to you in the correct language that maybe is your first language. We can understand the issues in your communities and help you advance that mission along. So this is just one of the areas that he works in. Similarly, I have this is Mr. Joseph Greenway. He's a little bit pixelated there, specifically because those are zeros and ones. He's our data guy, and so if you can see that, they're all zeros and ones. He's binary, but nonetheless, what he does is he collects all the hospital information from all hospitals in the state of Nevada, and he looks for what we kind of candidly refer to as never events, things that should never happen. A trip and fall in the hospital, a wrong medication was administered, we did something, or we had a hospital accident. And so he works to help reduce the number of these never incidences that are happening in hospitals, so that we don't come home and have some atrocious thing or a wrong medication or a wrong dose given in different areas or a trip and fall that could be prevented. These are just the applied things that community health does and public health does to improve our communities. Okay? If you look real closely at that photo, it's really super cool. Hopefully none of you do this, right? So distracted driving, you can see, he's shaving, he's talking on the phone, he's got a drink in one hand, he could be putting on makeup, he could be adjusting 100 other things, but Dr. Bungum is one of our faculty members that really looks at distracted driving. How do we drive this message home that people shouldn't be doing this? When you're driving a several thousand-pound vehicle down the road at 80, 90 miles an hour, you probably ought to be looking ahead, not looking at your cell phone. And so this is just some of the work that we do that has direct impacts on the community. So the thing I love about community health and public health, I can explain to anybody why this is relevant and important. You don't have to guess. So this one too, this is Dr. Anthony Chen. He works on air and air quality, so he's blown away there a little bit, if you get that. And he has several air quality monitoring systems. He's got a personalized air quality monitor that he works on. We also have a laboratory that does mold and pollen monitoring actually in the schools, and it does it on a daily basis. So we collect the information on air and air quality. We post this up to a real-time website. So if you have a child that's asthmatic or has an allergy or other things, we can know what the pollen count is. How many of you love the mulberries and the olive trees around here? Right? You know what I'm talking about? So we actually have a website that monitors this at the schools, and you can inform your parents, you can inform the kids that you might want to be careful today or avoid activity in certain areas to help them prevent some of the things that shouldn't happen in the first place. The amount of cost and dollar values we spend on ER visits for asthma attacks is absolutely tremendous, and it is completely avoidable if managed correctly. So this is a little quote there. It says, that you can read on there, that this is the center of what we do, is we try and improve the quality of life for other people. And so, really what we do is there's no better exercise than reaching down and lifting up other people. And so this is the heart of public health. This is why we're into it, because we care about people and we care about others. I joke everybody in public health is a bunch of chronic do-gooders. And I would argue that Rotarians probably fall into that category reasonably well too, which is why I always like to come here. Just a few other quick projects I want to tell you about. This one I'm specifically proud of because it's one that I launched. It's a project called the Landlord-Tenant Hotline. So one of the things that we have issues with is many of our people rent homes or rent apartment complexes. When there are health and health-related issues in those homes, there's really nobody to call. You can call the landlord, yell at them. If they don't care, you're stuck with it. So we created a landlord-tenant hotline where individuals who rent can call in and get advice. They can have the health district come out. They can review if there's imminent health dangers that they're going to see in that environment. And accordingly, they can get them fixed and addressed. So we get a tremendous number of calls. We get almost 2,000 calls a year into this hotline. And it was started by a group of people. It's now run by one student that actually triages all these calls, refers them out to the health district, Nevada Legal Services. So there's one staff person. Many of these things are habitability issues. No air conditioning, right? If you've been here June, July, and August, which all of you have, and your air conditioning goes out, we've been to homes where there's individuals sitting in their bathtubs filled with water, blowing fans on themselves so that they don't die. And I'm not joking about that. There are serious, serious issues that we've had to deal with. So most of this we find within a phone call or one or two referrals. We can get about 78 or 80% of those resolved very quickly with just a phone call to a landlord or to legal services or somewhere else. So again, just another way that public health and community health works in our environment. Our Nevada Institute for Children's Research and Policy just does phenomenal work in the community. They run several programs at our local hospitals. One of these is the Infant Safe Sleep Program. So new moms and dad gets your kids. You're pretty clueless in the first place, but they don't know anything about how do you put a kid in a crib, what should be in there, what shouldn't be in there, how should they sleep, what should we avoid to do, because we can avoid kids having SIDS or the sudden infant death syndrome. There's overwhelming evidence if those children sleep on their back, we don't put a bunch of stuffed animals, we don't put all sorts of things that might cause strangulation hazards in those cribs, that this is much less likely to happen. It's preventable. We also run the only chapter for Nevada of Prevent Child Abuse Nevada. And unfortunately, this team also reviews all the child death incidents in Nevada. So any child that dies under the age of 1 gets a full review on what happened, whether that's a drowning, SIDS, or some other really horrible or unfortunate event. They investigate each of those and then try and bring back policies that could have prevented that from happening. So it's a little disheartening, but it's also a really, really valuable group that's doing important work. So here's a little quote I just want to read to you. It says, to keep the body in good health is a duty, otherwise we shall not be able to keep our mind strong and clear. And so I think we've all been sick, right? When you're sick, that's pretty much all you can think about, and it's very hard to contribute and give back to society when you're worried about your personal health. So it's absolutely critical to do that. So just a little bit about our school. We offer about 7 degrees. I'm not going to bore you with all the statistics, but we offer degrees in public health, bachelor's, master's, PhD, and our local organizations here in the community. So, each year we place and have a large internship day that talks about that. Okay? So just one last quote for you. It's a little bit, as you're getting ready to eat your dessert, I want to drop this one on you. So it says, exercise is a celebration of what your body can do, okay? Not a punishment for what you ate. Okay. And so that's just keeping in that whole prevention theme, right? And so really just thinking about that continuum of care. So thank you so much for having me here today, and just to talk a little bit about community health and public health and what we do. It's kind of one of the best kept mysteries of the educational world. When you're not getting sick, when you eat in a restaurant, when you have a safe place to walk, when you have fresh food on your table, when you've got an immunization, when you didn't catch a disease, when you didn't fall down, when you had fresh water to drink, when your toilet flushed and went to a place where it's supposed to go, think a public health professional, because those are many of the things that they do. So.
Right over here, question.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's really interesting. I didn't know that existed at school. I'm aware that a large number of universities have departments and courses in environmental health sciences. And I just wonder if you could comment as to either overlap or differences. It seemed to be more on the preventative
yes.
side.
So within our School of Community Health Sciences, I didn't give you the organizational structure. There's really 5 major units. There's a unit in healthcare administration, social behavioral health, biostatistics, epidemiology, and health and environmental and occupational health. So that is one of the core areas. So when you get a degree in public health, you have to pick one of those focal areas. So your environmental health specialists, those are a lot of your food inspectors. They do green pool programs. They do vector control. You heard Bill Gates talking about malaria. Malaria is, of course, a mosquito disease that's transmitted through mosquitoes. So we control our mosquito populations here. We do offer a degree in public health with an emphasis in environmental and occupational, as well as a PhD in that area. So, and we work with other programs in biology and sciences that do that as well.
When you said there's a lack of immunization of a lot of children, is that with children born outside of hospitals, or is it a responsibility of the hospitals to see that the child gets immunized?
So that's a multi-part question and answer. So, of course, the hospitals like to promote that. We do educate the parents to do that. And being immunized is actually a requirement unless you receive a waiver to enter into the Clark County School District. So one of the groups that really has done, I think, the tremendous amount of work in this area are the school nurses, really bringing in and immunizing those folks. The Southern Nevada Health District does a great job. Your local healthcare providers, your pediatricians, all are working to get them immunized. So like anything in public health, it should be a group effort trying to make that happen. So I think it's a little bit of all those things.
Thanks for being here. At the national level, there's a lot of discussion about opioid addiction and so forth. What's the situation here in Las Vegas?
Yeah, there's a lot of new statistics out that unfortunately we have a tremendous issue with opioid and opioid addictions. I know that this is a huge priority for the Nevada State Health Division. They're putting a lot of money and time and resources into educational interventions, into counseling, and other areas to try and reduce the impact of the opioid crisis. I don't remember the numbers off of my top of my head, but there's quite a few of those out there. And there's a couple of websites you can look to acquire some of those numbers. There's one called Healthy Southern Nevada, and there's a lot of statistics on there that you can go on. It's at the Southern Nevada Health District, and you can see some of the statistics there. I don't remember that one off the top of my head, but we are definitely not immune from that one.
I'm guessing you have a link for the public to access your pollution index.
Yeah, there's actually a link up on our website, and then we coordinate that with the Environmental Protection Agency. And so those, if you go on to just type in Community Health Sciences or Public Health at UNLV, you'll see some air quality links, and there's some real-time data that go up there that families and patients and the community can use. Yeah.
Other questions?
Eric? So you have really lots of great information here and a lot of research done. The number one thing I see is how do you teach people, you educate people, how do you actually get them to commit to maintaining a healthier lifestyle? Because that's the thing. We all know we should eat right. We all know we should exercise. We should do it often. But your numbers say most people don't. Right. So how do you actually make someone take the steps to do it and really encourage that besides just bombarding them with information?
So let me qualify that as I would have a Nobel Prize if I figured that one out. But there are certain steps and there are processes that we know documented in the scientific literature that work. One of the other areas, I was asked about environmental health, we have another area called social and behavioral health, and that really looks at how do we encourage people to make lifestyle changes and how to increase their healthy behaviors and change their environment to do that. So there's many ways you can do that. Some of that is through education. A lot of that is through design. I do a lot of work with healthy homes. And so we can actually design your homes and make them safer so you can't trip and fall, so they don't have mold in them, they don't have lead-based paint, they don't have rodents and insects and pests. You don't get electrocution hazards and your air conditioners work. So that pedestrians can cross the street safely. We can do laws and policies. We passed the Clean Indoor Air Act, so you could actually go out and have a dinner in this town without having to suck somebody else's cigarette smoke. That was a monumental landmark piece of legislation. We passed policies that added fluoride to drinking water. There's still a group of the world that thinks that's a brain control conspiracy theory. There's another group that says it's just better for oral health. I happen to be on the second side. But there are policies, there's behaviors, there's environmental modifications, and there's healthcare interventions. So ironically enough, and we need data to do all of that. So what I just did is I described you the 5 departments that make up a school of community health sciences. We work on all those areas to improve and change those behaviors. So great question. It was like you fed me that one. I appreciate it. So, the opioid incident one. He looked that up for me. 5.5 per 1,000 emergency room visits in Nevada were the result of opioid heroin dependence per 1,000. So about 5 to 6 of every single person that comes into emergency room is for an opioid dependency related issue. Yeah.
Just a comment. A third of the people in this room, you have diabetes, but you don't know it yet. So, following through with that, anytime you go to the doctor when blood is drawn, you want an A1C, and then you will know for sure. A1C.
So it is absolutely critical for you to take control of your own health care and ask those right questions and be informed when you go see your health care providers. But it's also just as important when you go to the grocery store, when you choose whether to drive your car to your mailbox or actually walk, or what you do, the air you breathe, the environment you live in. All these things determine your health. So we need to get people thinking along that a little more inclusive way. I'm told last question.
Among your other duties is acting dean of the new medical school. If you
Yep.
don't have enough to do, the first class is in. How's it going, and how's the capital campaign for your building going?
Good questions, and thank you for asking me that at the end. So there's, so I have a lot of hats. I just spin them around, and so the first class was admitted. There was 60 students in there. Very proud to say about 50% of those were from minority and underrepresented populations. Many of them are first-time college students. All of them have an affiliation to Nevada. They're either from Nevada, graduated from Nevada, have family in Nevada, in hopes that they will stay here and provide quality care down the road. We're working on our second class of admits. I can tell you we have over 1,000 applications for that next class of 60, which is phenomenal. And the last part of your question was the fundraising piece. So as many of you are aware, we did receive, there was a matching grant from the state. There was a $25 million award, but we had to find $25 million donation in the community, which we did find through an anonymous donor. So we have the first $50 million in hand to start that school. We were planning that building out. Obviously, it's going to cost a lot more than $50 million. We've been working with donors all over the community. We've got some tremendous feedback on that, and hopefully we'll have some good announcements for you on that very quickly down the road. The philanthropy from this community has been phenomenal. The first 60 students all have free 4-year scholarships to attend medical school, thanks to this community and the philanthropy that's done here. We have 28 of those funded for the second class. And so we've been working to try and get all that second class covered, but we're not quite there yet. So good question. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't go away. Don't go away. Thank you for speaking to us, Sean. And as a token of our appreciation, we would like to present you with our Share What You Can Award, where we will present a meal to a homeless vet in your name. So, there you go.
Can I read real quickly? Yeah. So, a meal to a homeless vet is another place near and dear to my heart. I'm actually the president of the board for 3 Square Food Bank as well. And so, providing a meal, awesome. Yeah, one more hat. Why not? So, thank you all for having me. I appreciate your time.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you all, and as I always say, Rotary is like tennis. The one who serves best usually wins. Now go forth and enjoy Nevada Day weekend.